and it is pitched to be perfect for fans for A Court of Thorns and Roses and Serpent and the Wings of Night. Hello besties, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing great, and today I'm basically giving you all the fantasy romance books that are constantly living in my mind. I really want to get to. I want to read them this year, make time for them. So I'm giving you my top must-read indie fantasy romance books of 2024. And these are books that I didn't read yet, but I heard only great things about, and they pop out on my feed and they are basically on my radar and I really want to get to them. And the first one is called Blood and Steel by Helen Scheurer. This is the first book in the Legends of Thesmar series. Now, I already bought her novella that is set in the same world. It's called Slaying the Shadow Prince. It was part of her contribution in the Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers, I think that series is called. And I really want to read this. And I remember that the author mentioned that this book is perfect for people who loved Nesta's journey in A Court of Silver Flames. And I'm one of those people, 100%, so I'm very excited to pick up this one. In this book, we follow Althea, and her death was foretold that she only has 3 years left to live. So she became determined to fulfill her dream before that. And she always dreamt and wanted to be a warrior legend. In this world, women are forbidden to wield blades, so she has trained in secret her entire life, and now more than ever she's racing against the clock and fighting to secure her place in the elite guild charged with the protection of 5 kingdoms. And to assist her in her training and in her sparring, she has a warrior chaperone, and she feels like she has a growing attraction for him. And at the end of their training, they must pass a perilous initiation test to take their places as champions of Thesmar. But at the same time, Althea feels like there are schemes that are going around and there is a lot of plotting in the kingdom. And there is a darkness that is threatening the kingdom. And this book was pitched as perfect for fans of the Bridge Kingdom, From Blood and Ash, and The Witcher. And it is an epic fantasy romance with enemies to lovers, with slow burn spice, a found family trope that we all love, and a sprawling world of magic and monsters. The author's note about this book is what drew me in even further. She said that if you like fierce, sword-wielding heroines and brooding, tortured heroes, you will devour the sexy, addictive fantasy romance. And I'm here for it. What can I say? I'm so excited to pick up this book. I really want to read it very, very soon. We have book 2 that is already out, and I think book 3 is coming out pretty soon. So yeah, and I really secretly hope we get a special edition of these books if they do like character art and foiling, and you know, the bells and whistles that we all love. They will turn out to be so beautiful. I mean, even the OG covers are very, very pretty. So yeah. The second book that is on my radar is A Court This Cruel and Lovely. It is the first book in Kingdom of Lies by Stasia Stark. It is an adult fantasy romance. A lot of people already read this and loved it, and I really want to read it too. Our main female character, for years when she fell asleep, she had the same dream. She dreams of a man with blazing green eyes and a cruel smile. And the day she meets him, he turns out to be a mercenary and he leaves her for dead. And in this world, a few hours after the humans are born, the gods take what little power they have, and in return, they protect their borders from the vicious, merciless Fae. And the humans who manage to keep their power are known as the corrupt, and they are hunted and burned. When our main female character, Forbidden Power, is discovered, she is forced to flee her tiny village and leave her life behind. And in order to survive, she makes a desperate bargain with a mercenary who she met before and who abandoned her before and left her for dead. And the deal was simple. She will help him and his friends sneak into the city, and in return, he will help her learn to wield the strange dark power she's always kept hidden to be able to survive, because I think he has a power of his own. But she soon finds out that he is hiding secrets that could not only threaten everyone she loves, but also tear the kingdom and perhaps even the world apart. In this book, we have a dual POV, which I love, forced proximity, hate to love, angst and tension, and twists and betrayal, and basically everything I love is in this book. There is some steam, but the author mentioned that while the series is slow burn, the chili pepper rating will increase for each book, and I'm here for it. I'm so excited to pick up this book too. Okay, the next book is all over Bookstagram, BookTube, everywhere. Wherever I turn, I hear about The Ever King. It is book 1 in the Everseas series by L.J. Andrews. It is an adult fantasy romance, and I believe there is a series that you can read before this one, but if you choose not to, I don't think I'm going to, you can start with this book. In this book, we follow Eric Bloodsinger. He's a morally gray and broken pirate with a tormented past, and he is the scarred king of the Ever Kingdom, and he is now trapped beneath the waves after another kingdom came and killed his father and basically colonized them, making him a prisoner in his own realm until his enemy's daughter unintentionally breaks his chains and Eric decides to use her in his vicious game of revenge. But of course, that's why we are reading the book. He develops feelings for her. In this book, we have pirates, we have sirens, we have fae that collide with Vikings in a dark fantasy romance between a villain and the innocent princess who holds his heart. People who read this book said that the world building is one of a kind, the side characters are well developed, and the characters' powers are so very unique. This book is definitely on top of my priorities, on the top list to read this year, and I really hope I get to it. I'm going to make time for these, I'm telling you. Okay, next up, another book that I'm 100% sure that you already seen everywhere, Flame and Sparrow. It is a duology by S.M. Gaither. It is the same author that wrote, I think the book is called Song of the Marked. I will write it down here if I'm incorrect. But I heard great things about that series, but I think now it's a complete series and there are 5 books. I'm not sure that I'm very motivated to read it, but this book, it is only a duology and I'm 100% going to read it. It is a romantic epic fantasy and it has adult language and spicy content. In this book, on the eve of her 20th birthday, Karis woke to the sight of a divine creature dying outside her home. And 2 weeks later, her sister disappeared, leaving nothing but a trail of blood in her wake. And Karis was convinced that the gods were responsible for the disappearance of her sister, and she has spent the last 5 years plotting her revenge. So when Draven, one of her world's most powerful deities, he's the god of fire, descends upon her kingdom in search of humans worthy of serving him, Karis knows that this is her chance to earn a place at the god's side, and that will allow her, of course, to find out what truly happened to her sister and finally get her revenge. But the more she gets introduced to his world and she starts to learn more about him, she grows an attraction for him and the story develops from there. You know what this plot line reminds me of? It reminds me of Kingdom of the Wicked, when Emilia finds her sister Victoria murdered, and then she does that dark ritual where Prince Wrath appears and the story starts from there. This is very reminiscent of that. And then like she gets to know him better, get to know about his world, and like there is an attraction that starts there too. It reminds me a lot of that. And in this book we also have divine enemies to lovers, Touch Her and Die, One Horse, and we have trials. We have divine trials. I love books with trials. I need to read this. And as I said, it's only a duology. It's perfect. The sequel and finale is called Ash and Feather. and it's coming out on May 30th. I really hope that by then I have already read the first book, or I will just wait for the release of the second book and I just do a binge read because like I love binge reading series. That's how I usually do it. But I'm really intrigued about this book and I really do think that I'm going to love it. Okay, next up, the newest release by Sarah A. Parker. It is the same author that wrote To Bleed a Crystal Bloom. It is called When the Moon Hatched and it is the first book in a series, the Moonfall series. The author's note for this book, listen carefully. She said that it is a fast-paced fantasy romance for fans of witty banter, a strong, sassy protagonist, an immersive, vibrant world with mysterious creatures, a unique magic system, and a love that blazes through the ages. And oh my god, if this does not make you just want to go ahead and buy the book and read it right now, I don't know what is. We have Fae, we have Who Hurt You, we have high angst and tension, we have strong and sharp main female character, we have a forbidden love, and we also have the one horse trope, except it is a dragon. Oh my god. I'm so excited for this. And the book is already out. It was released. This book I already mentioned in my January releases. It was released on January 13th and I literally cannot wait to pick up this book. And at the same time, I'm a bit scared because I'm scared that it will end on a terrible cliffhanger because, I mean, it's the first book in a series. We usually have a cliffhanger there, so I don't know. I mean, I want to pick it up, but I don't want to go through the torture of waiting a whole year. I'll think about it. But I really want to. Everyone is reading this right now and loving it. And I don't want to get spoiled for anything. So I might just go ahead and read it. And then when the second book comes out, I will do a reread as usual. And yeah, the next book is Rise of the Cinder Fay. I already mentioned this book in my special edition books that you could buy with no subscription by Whitney Dean. This is already out. This released on January 2nd and it is a standalone in an interconnected standalone retelling series that she's working on right now. The series is called The Dark Hearts Fairy Tale Retellings. It is an adult fantasy romance and is a retelling of Cinderella. This book is technically a standalone, but the story of the main couple does not end with this book. It will be a vital part in the next retelling installment, releasing this October. The story is told to be very immersive and the main couple has great banter and tension. It is also a dual POV and a spicy enemies to lovers, and we also have arranged marriage, an age gap, a slow burn, and only one horse, and it is a horse this time. So yep, I'm definitely going to read this. And I also wanted to say the cover, look at it. I mean, this is the OG cover. I appreciate so much the work that went into making this cover. The book looks absolutely stunning. And also the author mentioned that each book in the series will have a tarot card theme cover, and this cover is Judgment. And there is also a special edition, as I said, done by the Butterfly Book Club. And that edition will go on sale on February 1st. If you didn't watch that video, go ahead and watch it. And the next book that is on my radar, definitely I'm going to read it this year because it's a sequel to a series that I started. It is the Inadequate Heir. It is book 3 in the Bridge Kingdom series. It follows the path of two characters that we already met in the Traitor Queen. We follow Prince Karis Valiant, he's Laura's elder brother, and Zara, she's the general and the heir to Valcata. And I heard that the events of book 3, the Inadequate Heir, overlap the same time period as the Traitor Queen, but revolve around the conflict between the enemy nations Maridrina and Valcata. And there is a steamy new romance and a lot of action and intrigue, and also the appearance of many characters that we followed and loved in the Trader Queen, and I cannot wait to pick up this book. I really loved the Bridge Kingdom, the two books. I preferred the romance in the first book more than the second. I will talk about it in my wrap-up, but I'm 100% going to continue on with the series. I love Daniel L. Jensen's writing, and I love the story and the characters, so 100% going to read this one too. The next book is the newest release by C. Anne Crawford. It is called Hallowed Games. Our main female character in this book is a witch who is cursed with a deadly touch in a world where magic is forbidden, and witches are forced into deathly trials every year so the god can grant mercy to the winner, and the rest of them, the losers, will die. So she was on the run when she was arrested by a witch hunter who turns out to be the only person immune to her touch, because her curse and her power is when she touches someone, that person dies. And it turns out because he's secretly a vampire. And the attraction and story starts from there. And this book, Hallowed Games, is the first book in a new fantasy romance series. We have the beloved morally gray characters, and we have deadly trials. I already said it, I love trials, and it is pitched to be perfect for fans for A Court of Thorns and Roses and Serpent and the Wings of Night. Two of my favorite series of all time. So just say no more, St. Crawford. I'm going to read it. I'm definitely going to pick this up very soon. And I also hope that we get special editions with character art when the series is done. Fae Crate already did the duology, the Nectar, Frost and Nectar, I think it's called, duology by C. Anne Crawford. And I hope they also do this series in the future. They do the most beautiful special editions, and I really appreciate having pretty books, as you all know. So yeah, definitely going to read this one too. Next book is so popular. I said this about a lot of books, but this one is very, very popular right now too. It is The Crown of Oaths and Curses by J. Bree. It is book one in a trilogy called The Mortal Fates, and she already has this book and also two short novellas, The Scepter and the Sword. You need to read these before reading book one. So if you decide to start the series, you have to read The Scepter first and then The Sword, and then start with the first book, The Crown of Oaths and Curses. But I think the first two novellas are pretty short. They are like around 100 pages, so it will go very fast. It is an adult fantasy romance series. We have dual POV. We have a romance between a witch and a savage fae prince. We have true enemies, and everyone who read these books, they said they are true enemies. It's like reading The Folk of the Air. The Chosen One and Fated Rejected Mate trope. I'm so here for it. I'm telling you, I'm so here for it. And as I said, people who read this said it is giving the Cruel Prince, Cardan and Jude vibes because of the enemies to lovers and the political intrigue in this book. And I squealed with delight when I heard that. The Folk of the Air trilogy is one of my all-time favorite series, and I cannot wait to pick up this book. I'm just waiting for the announcement of the release date of the next book, because I believe this ends on a cliffhanger, and I just want to know how long the torture will last before we get the next book. So yeah, definitely going to read this book also this year. And that was it. That was my last book for this video. If you made it this far, leave me the sword emoji and tell me if you are intrigued to read one of these books that I mentioned. If you are a fantasy romance lover like me, and if you like the video, subscribe so we can become book besties, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!